Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. We have a post here from Bobby A, and it really kind of resonates with me because I've been witnessing so many damn people becoming extremely bearish, throwing out nonsensical posts, talking about how Bitcoin is about to go back down to $3,000 and all this crazy talk. We have "This is perfection. The US stock market is blowing off while many remain in denial, disbelief, fearful, and sidelined." And I do question all of you out there. How many people right now do you honestly think are in this market that are extremely bullish and they're ready to watch themselves get rich? I mean, it's a very small percent. The general consensus around crypto and the markets is that, oh, this is a dead cat bounce. The markets, there's no way that this can sustain. The economy is doomed. Everything is done. Everything's going to zero. We're going to have a 2008 all over again. That's the overall sentiment. So many people, since going all the way back to January of 2023, are in disbelief and sidelined. I've talked about the money market funds, right? There's like $6 trillion locked away in money market funds expecting a recession. What happens if the markets are absolutely going crazy, everyone's getting wealthy, and guess what? You have mainstream media all over it. Bitcoin going to $1 million, Bitcoin going here, Bitcoin going there. That money is going to start to trickle back in, and that's where the sheep get slaughtered. It's the same exact thing that has happened so many times in the past. But we have here the higher time frame Bitcoin charts look incredibly bullish, leading into the halving. At $50,000, Bitcoin is printing beautiful chart patterns and market structure while many remain in denial, disbelief, fearful, and sidelined at retracement levels. Truly a work of art, a masterpiece that could not be developed more beautifully. We've been calling for and patiently waiting for this moment since the November 2022 lows. And even back in November of 2022, I was saying, a lot of people are so damn bearish. The entire market was extremely bearish. Sentiment around the market was basically like March of 2020 all over again. And that was the best time to be buying. Now, what is moving this market so damn heavy? It's the ETFs. There's so much damn demand. There was $631 million of net inflows to the spot Bitcoin ETFs yesterday. That is 14 times more demand than the network produced in the same day. I don't think people understand the magnitude of what is happening right now. And if we actually look at the ETF inflows, we could see day by day what's been happening. So first and foremost, launch day, 655, followed by 202, followed by a negative 53. And this is in the millions. So you had 655 million, followed by 202 million, followed by 53 million negative outflows, 453 million inflows, 126 million outflows, 44 million inflows. And then we had that red week. That was the worst week where everyone was saying, that's it, Bitcoin's done. I think that we wicked down to like $38,000 or something like that. And then guess what? January 26th, all the way to February 13th, it's all green. All green. And we just had a $631 million inflow day. Think about how crazy that is. Now, also, Chad Steingraber put out a great post. Record-shattering numbers from the ETFs. BlackRock smashes through $100,000 to above $105K on the 14th. Take a minute to compare how big this is for crypto. It took gold over 2 years to reach over $5 billion in assets under management under its first ETF. Critics were saying the Bitcoin ETFs combined would barely reach $5 billion in total in the first year. BlackRock alone passing $5 billion in assets under management in one damn month. At pace, this would be $50 to $60 billion in year one just for BlackRock. The ETF group is buying a net inflow average of 500 million per day. At launch, we talked about how a net inflow of 130 million per day would be massive. We are currently at 900 mined per day. April, it cuts to 450 mined per day. Only 8 to 9% of institutional clients are buying. The rest are sitting back and waiting until the third month. BlackRock still has a pot of 200 billion of capital waiting to be deployed into the ETF. Vanguard still isn't allowing trading yet. Hong Kong is about to list Bitcoin ETFs. Are you bearish? You can't TA your way out of this one anymore. This is history in the making. And here we could actually see the iShares Bitcoin Trust, Bitcoins under management, 105,279. And you can see how fast this has been growing. It's insane to say the least. And we have over here from XRP drops. Imagine when the real FOMO starts to hit the market. Bitcoin Google search volumes versus Bitcoin price. Bitcoin hit $51,000. Meanwhile, Google search volumes relative to price are still at all-time lows. And this is another thing that I keep telling you all to watch for is the Google sentiment. If you actually go to Google Trends, you can see how much search volume there is behind Bitcoin, behind crypto, behind cryptocurrency. The herd is not here yet. Wait until the flood comes back into the space. And for all of those out there saying, Nick, what about XRP? What is going to happen with XRP? We're going to talk about that here in a second. In previous years, there was always a strong correlation, which can be clearly seen in the graph above. And here we could actually see that graph above, and we could also see the Bitcoin search volume to price ratio. Again, even if you look at some of the volume back in like 2021, for an example, it was not as significant, but the Google search volume, if we look back in 2021, it was still very significant. It wasn't as much as 2017, 2018, but it was still a major spike versus where we are at right now, where the price is literally going parabolic. And I feel as though it's a lot of people that are not aware yet of how crazy this market is becoming at a time where they're distracted by the fear mongering. Oh, we're about to go into a recession. Everything's about to crash. Everything's about this. And remember what I was saying back in 2023 and even back in 2022. I said so many people are going to get caught off guard on this next big move because everyone is expecting the same exact thing, which is recession, crash, and then when they flip bullish again, that's when we actually get a crash or possibly even a recession. But this entire damn year, guys, it's election year. They're going to prop the markets up. They're going to continue to push these markets. In 2025, that's when we really start to worry. That's when we should be worried. But 2024, it has been an absolute incredible year for crypto. And when it comes to XRP, don't worry, guys. This is what you should be looking at. This is when an altcoin will move. This is when your alts will start pumping heavy. So we have Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin price, and altcoins. And you can see when altcoins are stable, that's when you have Bitcoin dominance increasing while Bitcoin's price is stable. When alts really pump, that is when Bitcoin dominance is decreasing while the Bitcoin price is increasing, and that's when altcoins are starting to move really heavy. But there's also another way that alts can move, and that is when Bitcoin dominance is decreasing while Bitcoin's price is stable, and that's when you also see altcoins moving. Now, the big thing that I'm watching for is a turnaround on the XRP Bitcoin pair. Everyone is expecting this to be dead. It's done. And if you go back in time, you can see in September of 2015, this was bleeding out heavy and it continued to bleed out. If we actually look at this, so from the spike up to when it started to bleed, this was over 532 days, right? If we go back to just the big spike back in November of 2020 before the SEC lawsuit, we can see that it's been roughly 1,176 days from the spike up in 2021. It has been roughly 1,001 days. Even some of the recent spikes, right? And mainly this is, I'll say September of 2022. That was the last major notable one, minus, of course, the July spike with the SEC lawsuit. This itself was 511 days. This one, I don't like to count the July timeframe because this is mainly just driven by FOMO, but it's still been about roughly 217 days. A lot of people are actually expecting the summertime to be very, very bullish for crypto, including, of course, XRP. And if that is the case, if that's when we have to wait for XRP to really pop off, this is around roughly 400 some days. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to XRP's Bitcoin price chart, the main thing that I'm looking at is when this is going to bottom out. So far, this has just been slowly bleeding ever since July. The thing that I'm looking at is either, are we going to see this lower level being tested, which is, again, January of 2021. This is right around the SEC lawsuit. That's what caused this massive drop to the bottom. Are we going to retest these lows and then build back and start regaining momentum above significant support zones? Like, for an example, this zone here. And then we regain some momentum above resistance. Ultimately speaking, what we are really looking at is just surpassing the 200 weekly EMA, which is that blue line. But I do think that this is the area that we should be looking at in order for us to actually bottom on the Bitcoin pair. We could even wick down below it like we did back in 2017 before a big spike. But guess what? The same exact thing is happening like back in 2017, 2018, where we had this massive slow bleed. I mean, hell, even technically, if we are going off of February of 2016, this was about 300 some days of downward pressure. This was 392 days from the February spike. Again, if we go back to just the July spike, this is 217 days. If we follow this closely, and we say for so we go to 392 days, August would be the best bet. But even if we go back to September of 2022, so far we are at around roughly 511 days. Either way, right, the overall market sentiment here around XRP is still very similar to this time, where everyone's ignoring it, it's dead, it's not doing anything, and it's mainly because of the Bitcoin pair. The Bitcoin pair is bleeding out. The USD pair doesn't look too bad. I mean, in my opinion, this is primed for a big move. So far, we have been holding up fairly strong on the trend lines. What we really want to see is a big break above this trend line. We'll most likely get a retest of it before we go. But I'm watching the weekly candle close because we are less than 4 days away from the weekly candle close. And if we can get a close above 57.5 cents, that would be a big move. So far, we have been regaining some momentum. And the big thing to watch for is the fact that we just recently regained the weekly 200 EMA, which is that blue line. Guys, the last time that we regained momentum on this, so there was some times where we did reject, like for example, back in August of 2020. But if we regain this in a big way, and I mean we start to really pump above these other EMAs, mainly what I'm looking at, like I said, is that 58-cent zone, then I do think that we are in a move, or in for a move like November of 2020, where we did spike all the way up to about roughly 79 cents. But this time around, we're not trading at roughly 27 cents. We're trading at almost 54 cents. So this move should actually push us above this trend line and possibly have us retesting that 92 some cent zone. On this chart, this is Bitstamp. This is about roughly 95 cents. I know on other exchanges it was like around like 92 cents. But realistically speaking, this should give us enough momentum to push above. But the big thing to watch for is strength on the Bitcoin pair. Right now, Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin itself is all the focus. And it will be until Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. Once it starts to make a new all-time high, the smart money is going to start flooding out of Bitcoin into altcoins, Ethereum, things like that. And that's why we look at the dominance flow. You could also look at money flows, right? So this is just how altcoins will move. There's also another chart to look up if you guys did want to check it out. It's the path to alt season. And so far, it's been pretty on par with everything. Mainly what we are watching for is money to trickle down the list. I do think altcoins like XRP will see a significant amount of money flowing into them because it just makes sense considering the fact that it is in the top 10 still. The top 10 will see a significant move in the market as well. But in my opinion, XRP has been primed for a big move for a very long time. I mean, even if we go back to when we bottomed out back in June of 2022, you can see that we never really lost this trend line at all. I mean, if you are actually looking at the candle wicks on the weekly, this has been holding up fairly strong. We have never lost it, which is also why I said, like, if we look at XRP, it's still not very bearish. A lot of people were just complaining that the fact that XRP was not, pumping while the rest of the market was. But the thing is XRP never usually does that. I mean, even if you go back to March of 2020, leading into the summertime, during this time, XRP only did roughly, we look at this, a move of 184%. Meanwhile, DeFi tokens were going absolutely crazy. It was DeFi summer of 2020. Guys, they were doing like 5x. It was insane. So even then, XRP was underperforming and most of the market was already doing its major moves. Then XRP woke up in November of 2020 and it was ready to move. But then guess what? Next month, get the SEC lawsuit, absolutely killed the momentum. We had to regain the momentum, which slowed us down and, in my opinion, suppressed the price action. Again, that is my opinion. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, this time around, I do think that XRP is about to wake up in a very, very big way. And I do think that the rest of the market looks very, very bullish right now. And Wall Street is aping in. We can see the inflows, and it's absolutely very bullish for Bitcoin and for the rest of the market, especially once we do start to see money trickling down. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if there's more free content. If you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.